Hi, this is Mariah Gullo from The Hollywood Reporter, and I'm in studio today with Jay Duplass.
Yes.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, Mariah.
How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. I have about 3 million projects to talk to you about
Sounds
that you're
great.
currently working on.
Oh, I thought that you were working on.
Oh, yes.
We're talking about
I'm
me?
pitching you, actually.
Okay, cool. All right. Number one.
I wanted to talk about Outside In.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Oh, okay. This is your first feature film that you're starring in?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Sure, we could say that. Yeah, the first one that's going to be released in movie theaters. And it
Right.
stars Edie Falco and me. That's kind of cool.
The amazing Edie Falco.
The amazing. I was going to say amazeballs. Can I say it?
Yeah, you can say it.
Okay, amazeballs.
What's it like working with her?
Well, she's not that experienced, so I had to kind of like drag her along with me a little bit. She's a little tough. No, she's a genius,
Yeah.
and I was very surprised that she works really similarly to the way that I like to most, which is I don't like to rehearse. I don't like to talk about things a lot beforehand. I like to just do a first take, see how it goes, and Lynn works that way too, who directed the film, Lynn Shelton. And it was like a really simpatico, like positive, fun, exploratory relationship. We did tons of different kinds of takes, but I kind of knew a little bit about her because I had been in a movie called Landline with her, and I was like, oh, she's not only a genius, brilliant actor, she is very chill, very cool, really nice to be around, and all she really cares about is doing good work.
And is that really important for you to have a set that has a lot of people who are in that zone?
Yes, because there was barely any money, so
Yeah.
they have to want it and want to be there. And I think, I don't know, I mean, I've just had the experience of when you make movies for a small price, everyone that's there really wants to be there because you're not making the money. And so that's a different kind of currency where people really believe in the story that you're telling and the people who are making it, and it makes it like a family and makes it way more fun.
Lynn Shelton wrote this role for you.
Yes.
Is this happening a lot? I mean, you're kind of new to being an actor, putting yourself in front of the camera.
It's happening a lot. All you people out there, there's a lot of writing of roles for me, and I think you should get on board. It's going to be a tight competition, but do it because it's the only way it's going to work.
Taking all offers.
No, it is a very. I think it's rare for anyone that a really accomplished and amazing director calls you up and says, I want to make a movie around you, and I want it to be this. I was very touched and honored and excited to do it.
And you play a character who gets out of jail after being in prison for 20 years.
Yeah.
So he has a certain amount of naivete to him.
Yes, yeah. He's well, he went in at 18, and Edie plays his high school teacher, who educates him, advocates for him, and then they sort of fall in love. And when he comes out of prison, he pursues her somewhat relentlessly, but she's married.
And awkwardly.
Yes. He has no skills. He's essentially an 18-year-old in terms of how he deals with society. And there's some interesting stuff about it. I did a ton of research on people who, in particular, went into prison before the technology explosion of smartphones and the internet and come out after. It's really hard enough to reintegrate into a society that doesn't really want to rehabilitate you or reintegrate you, but to add that technology component where literally everyone's on a phone, they seem like, the way guys describe it is like everyone seems like they're in the CIA because there's headphones and everyone's looking in here. So it really doubles down on the difficulty of transitioning back to society, and we explore that quite a bit, and it's a little bit funny. A little bit funny, yeah.
It seems like a lot of people would like to go back to a time before the internet, but this is really kind of exploring the fact that would be not so fun. It's not fun to move into life without any technological advances when other people have.
It reveals how he has a really tough time reintegrating into society, but it was fun for us because, as filmmakers, in terms of communication, he has like a crappy flip phone that he kind of doesn't know how to use and has no idea about texting. And
he's calling people, and it's surprising
He's
them.
calling people on the phone, and they're not cool with it, man.
Or even showing up at their houses.
How dare you call me? He shows up at their houses, and he He rides a BMX bike around town because that was his last mode of transportation that he had. So it's kind of fun in a filmmaking way, where it was almost like a lot of the time we were making a 90s movie. Like, there was no use of, like, smartphones or anything like that because they didn't really apply to him.
Mm-hmm. Do you think being a new actor, you can kind of transition into a role of somebody who is naive at a more, I don't know how to say
what
this.
What are you saying? What exactly are you saying? I am
sorry, Jay.
1,000% versatile actor. I can do anything. No, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just making it up as I go. To be honest, I was nervous about portraying someone so far from me. You know, most of the roles that I've played have been very in line with, like, who I am or in the realm or just people that I know. But I had to dig really deep and, like, befriend people who had gone to prison for like 10 or 20 years to be with them, to understand the fears and the vulnerability. And what I found really interesting and actually empowered me to do the role and to take it on more wholeheartedly is, you know, because, like, a lot of guys coming out of prison are really tough. I'm not tough at all, you know. But the guys, at least, that I was talking to, there was a tremendous vulnerability. I mean, just on a scale that I don't think anybody who hasn't been to prison can experience, of just that feeling that, like, I'm out, but I feel like somebody's going to pick me up and put me back in at any second because, you know, you've essentially, all your freedoms have been stripped of you. And so there's this tremendous vulnerability towards other human beings. Will I ever be able to be accepted? I'm an ex-convict. You know, whether I did it or not, or did it to the extent to which they think I did it, you know, will people be able to accept me? And you know, when I spent enough time to figure that out, I was like, oh my God, this is, and it's beautiful, and it's a great role. So that's the angle that I took.
I'm really impressed at the ability of this movie to talk about some real taboo subjects without making it icky, without making it uncomfortable, or without using a plot point to kind of devastate the people involved.
To gaslight the situation.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, I think what's interesting, and what Lynn and I were trying to do, it's kind of hard craft-wise to do a true two-hander of a story, but that's something that Lynn was really, it was really important to her to try to do that. I mean, I think it was, like, ideologically important for her. And what we were really fascinated by is, you know, my character's coming out of prison, he's pursuing Edie's character relentlessly, and that's really easy to get your head around and to understand. But as the movie sort of transitions to the back side of the movie, I think the question becomes more about Carol's character, Edie's character named Carol. You know, will she be able to escape the prison of being in a somewhat emotionally loveless marriage, and exploring the questions of, you know, does a 55-year-old working mother get to take a chance at happiness even if it is really risky and may seem silly? Is she allowed? And, you know, the more Lynn and I thought about it, we were like, culturally, in our society, no, it's not okay. I think that's what we're being told, and that was really exciting for us to explore that with Edie's character.
Is it interesting to write your own dialogue for yourself? Because you wrote this with Lynn.
Yes, I've never done it before. This is the first time I've written something for me to act in and perform in. I was nervous about it. In retrospect, I'm weirdly glad that I did produce it and write it, because I was so in it, and I had to do all my research way early for the script, even before I did it as an actor. So it was all kind of baked in. It was very different from how I talk and handle myself in the world. And honestly, all those jobs helped distract me from the fact that I was having sex scenes with Edie Falco. It's just like, every once in a while, you'll just be like, come out of a scene and you're like, oh my God, you're Edie Falco. What are you doing here in my arms? I think she's just an amazing actress, and, you know, it was a little overwhelming at times.
You've had to play opposite some really amazing women. You've had Edie, Amy Landecker, Judith Light.
Gabby Hoffman, Judith Light, Catherine Hahn, Jenny Slate, Chloe Sevigny. I've been in a lot, and in my short acting career, I've been in an incredible relationships with incredible women. So
you've had you must have an appreciation for for actresses?
Yeah, I love actors in general. I mean, even when I was just a writer and director, I was the one director where everybody's like, they're crazy. And I'm like, I'm obsessed with them. They're awesome and they can do anything. And yes, they're weird and they need like weird things to make their emotions go, but that's what this is all about. That, and I have an appreciation for strong women. My wife is a social worker and a feminist, and it's just, I don't know, it's feels natural to me to have these relationships with these powerhouse women that I have had.
We like it too.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
I'd be really interested to hear about why you executive produced Wild Wild Country.
Well, people are very surprised that my brother and I produced this like insane documentary about a cult and this old world town in Oregon. I think what it really comes down to in terms of what we produce, because people try to figure it out, and for us it has more to do with the situation and the people and the content. It's not just the content. You know, we're not like looking for things to produce. It's like there were these two wildly talented young brothers who reminded us a lot of ourselves.
Yeah.
They're insanely industrious. Chap and Mac Way are their names. And, you know, they had made this great documentary, The Battered Bastards of Baseball, that we had loved before. And they came into our orbit, and it looked like they wanted to make this documentary, and they weren't interested in making it on the grandest scale. They wanted to make something where they would be able to complete it, and they would be able to do it their own way, and they were willing to be incredibly industrious and hand make it themselves, the way that Mark and I had done always. And I think that's probably the most common ground of the things that we produce are those kinds of scenarios where really underdog people who are just like desperate to make something, and we're like, look, we might not make the most amount of money, but like you will make it your way and you will get to the end of that road. And so that's why we produced it. And I mean, those guys are such phenomenal filmmakers. It's all the credit to them creatively. They did such an amazing job.
Can you talk a little bit about Duck Butter, which is another movie you produced that is making some waves?
Duck Butter is the next movie that we are going to be releasing. I guess Outside In is starting this weekend in theatrically, but Duck Butter is at Tribeca imminently. And Duck Butter is a wild love child created by one of our favorite directors, Miguel Arteta, and one of our favorite actors, Alia Shawkat. And the concept is pretty wild. It's that, you know, a lot of people spend a long time trying to figure out whether or not they are well matched with each other. So these two people get together and they decide, we're not going to waste all this time. In the next 24 hours, we're going to have sex on the hour, every hour for 24 hours, and we're going to see how it goes. It's insane. It made you laugh.
Yeah.
It's a really fun and surprisingly deep movie. Yeah.
Excellent. It kind of reminds me of Crank.
Oh yeah, it's got a little bit of vibe with that. Yeah.
So one last question before I let you go, and thank you so much for indulging us. You've said before that the Coen brothers were a major inspiration for you. But going back a little farther, is there anything that really set your mind on fire when you were a kid, a cultural moment or a movie really early on?
Wow. You know, when I was so young, I would say the biggest impression of a movie was Rocky 1, the original Rocky. I was brought to Rocky 1 as a 3.5-year-old at a movie drive-in in 1976, and I remember seeing the images. I remember him, and I didn't remember the fighting. I remembered him and Adrian and her in the pet store, because that's the part, I mean, people don't remember, but the original Rocky is a gorgeous love story that is, the boxing is just so minuscule compared to the love story at hand, and just the story of a person trying to, like, reclaim some kind of, like, hope and dignity for himself. And I felt that then, and then I remember my dad rented it on VHS when we got our first VHS deck in like 1981, and then I saw it on HBO in like 1984, and that movie has come back over and over again, and I think it might be my all-time favorite movie.
Wow. Wow. The humanism of Rocky.
The humanism. I mean, it's been trodden upon by the many sequels since. I mean, it just
Sylvester Stallone as a movie star.
Sylvester Stallone's a movie. When you tell people that Rocky won the Oscar and that he won the Oscar for writing it, I think, in 1976, they don't believe you because they can only remember the plastic, the Mr. T, the Russian one. You know, it's been buried by all this stuff, but it's a beautiful movie, and I recommend that you go back and watch it.
Thank you, Jay Duplass. It's so nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Have a great time. The movie is Outside In, and it's out in theaters right now.
Right now. Go!